Yo, no maniacs. Good afternoon. This is Nomad Live, all bears all the time in conjunction with Sports Zone Chicago. And my guy, the superback, Sean Sierra. Got my trusty over there in the right-hand corner, Keith Harris Sr. I believe I got that right for the first
You got
time.
it right.
Got it right. And
Yeah,
so, hey,
yeah.
man, welcome to the show. As we go, Trapper Keeper. I don't know, first time I've seen you in the chat. I don't know if you're new to the channel, but if you are, welcome to the network, man, and welcome to the family. If you have not, please hit the subscribe button because I believe you're going to like this content that we're going to do today, man. But hey, again, welcome to the show, everybody. I see J2K, Plank, Mitch Osborne, Junior is up there. Let me see, Unapologetic Truth. Cornelia Squall's one of the number one no maniacs out there. Victor Dragon. I don't know if you're new, but if you are, please subscribe for us, Victor. Ronetta, lovely lady Ronetta, man. Glad to see you here, my dear. Let me see here. Keith Harris is in there. He's also on the show. But I digress, fellas. Hey, man, we came to talk about some things today. And if you've been following the Nomad Network, then you know I let people know right away as soon as the season ended. I was like, they're going to pick up this whole, we need to get rid of Justin Fields and draft the quarterback pretty quickly. That's going to be the narrative in the offseason. And I said it's going to pick up in earnest. If you guys remember, I said it. It's going to pick up in earnest, and the pressure is going to be really, really strong come draft time when they go to the combine, and it's happening right now. And you know the social media networks and the YouTube channels and oh man, I heard some crazy stuff was going on 670 score today, but we can talk about that. Anybody that watched any of that, we can discuss it. But as I told you before, the pressure campaign against ryanpoles to do whatever their virtue is going to pick up in earnest, and God bless it has like an MF. And this again, man, one of the reasons why I'm glad that we have a platform right here is so that we can fight back and so that Ryan Poles doesn't feel so much of the weight of that. There's a counterbalance, counter narrative out there to kind of go against all of that way of thinking. And so that's what we're here to talk about. Do we think, you know what, before we dig all the way in, man, Keith, you want to start with a few pleasantries, man?
Hey, yes, sir. No maniacs in the house today. Thank you very much for attending today. Man, looky here. It's getting ready to ramp up, y'all. Are y'all ready to talk some Bears football today? My man Sean, you in the house. What's going on today, brother?
I'm great, man. I had a good workout today. Got another chest workout, and after my workout, man, I've been running around getting some stuff together. Man, I feel good. Got some administrative stuff done for the crib, So it's been a good day, man. And then I get to come on to talk with you two freaking guys, man. Who's got it better than us? Nobody.
Nobody.
Okay, so here's our first bit of information here. I'm going to start this comment. Oh, here it is. He's already got it up. Let's just read that and go from there. Boomer Esiason said Poles should be fired if he doesn't draft Caleb Williams, and sounded angry when he said it. And so let's just start there. These people that have platforms, YouTube channels, podcasts, people on radio, people that are writing articles for the local paper, even a national paper. The Justin Fields conversation and the Bears' number one pick is the conversation of the offseason. And here we have already people with their platforms and, people that have major media connections trying to force and sway what Ryan Poles should or shouldn't do. They can have their opinions, but that already sits wrong with me to say someone should be fired if they don't get a guy that's in the draft and it's never played a NFL down, not one snap, and you're already swung your pendulum to the point where you're saying the guy should be fired. And so that's the kind of stuff I don't respect. I don't respect that. You want your way that bad so that you're ready to start a narrative that the guy should be removed from his job if he doesn't give you what you want. To me, that's the epitome of privilege and entitlement. Who do you think you are? Just because you have a show on TV, you think you can tell the GM what to do? No. And so let's just start there, and we'll just discuss it. We'll discuss that. Go ahead, Keith.
First, I find it laughable that Boomer Esiason would say something like that. Um, you know, he had a stellar career, but essentially Just that, a stellar career. To sit up and say that something is a fireable offense because he doesn't draft a particular player or a particular position and use that pick for what you got, for what they seem to think it should be used for, lets me know one thing, that they only watch highlights. They don't watch the full games. They're not fully in tune with what the team needs are. Therefore, it's a narrative that's continually being pushed. And because of who signs their paycheck, they have to keep that narrative going. But I will say what's really exciting and what everybody should really be paying attention to is how important and how the Bears have been at the top of the media topic when it comes to football this entire offseason. So think of it this way: as the Bears go, so goes the NFL. Because essentially, Ryan Poles is in the driver's seat and he holds all the cards right now. So regardless of what he does with this pick, the Bears has a chance to really affect the NFL both in free agency as well as in the draft to determine what its future is going to be and what other teams are going to look like as well. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's enough to keep me tuned in. But I'm gonna keep my eye on the prize. I know where my allegiance lie and what I want to see our team do. And I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I am a Justin Fields fan. I'm also a Bears fan. Will I be disappointed if they moved off from him? Absolutely, because I just feel like they're just going to keep perpetuating the same cycle. I strongly believe you give this young man one more year and let him prove it to everybody, including to himself, that he is supposed to be that franchise guy. But other than that, man, I find it laughable that, we got all these social media folks, we got all these people in national media, local media, whining and crying about what the Bears should do. And I think the smartest thing is the fact that Ryan Poles shut off his social media while going through this process. So that's
Well,
my take on it.
Well, that's
Sean,
cowardly.
what you
That's
got to say,
cowardly.
brother?
hold on,
How
hold on,
dare
Sean.
him?
Sean, before you go, let me offer this, man. I'll tell you why I ignore him. First of all, he's old, and secondly, your name Boomer. I'm just going to ignore you.
Hey, man! Don't be ageism. I don't want to hear that.
Right. Yeah, really, because you affected
Geriatric
me
hater,
too.
you.
Yeah, come on. I'm a baby boomer. Why are you doing me like that?
Go ahead,
Well,
Sean. My bad.
that's cowardly. That's cowardly of Ryan Poles to do that. I'm sure Cap should have something to say about that as well, because that's exactly what Justin Fields did. So he should be called cowardly as well. So it's laughable. All right, he's got a big decision to make. He's got the way, if it plays out like if it plays out the way he wants to, man, this guy is he could be he'll go down as one of the best GMs in not just Bears history, but in the history of the NFL. I saw a trade proposal on 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3. All right, and it comes just the amount of picks. You'd have 7 picks in the first and second round in the next 3 years. All right, like this, it just boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that people don't understand that. And when you say Caleb is the haul, because we talk about him getting a haul back, he's not the haul. Because if he was the haul, what happens is that there would be no debate over who's the best quarterback coming out. There's a lot of debate. And not just debate, but there's a lot of other people who have him behind Drake May. Some of you have him behind Jaden Daniels. So if this guy is generational, there's no debate. Okay. So, and if he's not generational, and again, just because you're not generational doesn't mean you're not going to be good. Doesn't mean you're not going to be great. Doesn't mean that at all. See, people get that confused when you argue that he's not generational. They get mad and want to fight. But you don't understand. You can still be a great player and not be generational. So I hope Caleb Williams goes out a great player. I really do. But he's not generational. And if you're not generational, then you take the haul. You build this team. You build this team like the 90s Cowboys, and you watch what happens. You watch what happens because you're going to get Justin Fields with studs. Everyone complained, oh, Justin Fields needs this. He needs to have 2 or 3 wide receivers. He needs to have a good offensive line. Well, guess what? Ryanpoles is doing that. And we've already seen what Justin can do when he has top-notch receivers, top-notch O-line. If you don't, go back to college. All right? 2 times in the college playoffs. 1 time to the national championship game. This is a kid who just needs to be coached. He needs to be coached well. He has been coached. He needs to be coached well. So it's going to be fun to see, and I hope Ryanpoles sees it the same way. I think he might. I think he does. There's a lot of things that he said, a lot of things that he's done. We talked about those yesterday. Like Nomad mentioned, why did he fire the entire offensive staff if the quarterback was the problem? Quarterbacks are probably get rid of the quarterback, you keep the staff.
Simple.
And you also mentioned why did he not allow Justin and his camp to go search for a trade like they did Zach Wilson in New York? Why didn't he do that?
Ooh.
So
say that again, Sean. I don't think the people heard you, Sean. Say that again.
Why didn't the Bears allow Justin Fields and his people? So now you don't got to go for work out a trade. You go let them come to you. Hey, I went to Atlanta, I went to New England, I went to Giants, I went here, and and now you can pick and choose because these are places they're going to want them, and they're going to be ready to ante up a nice little kitty for them. Why didn't they do that?
So Sean just strung together 2 very, very, very important, but not mentioned quite enough talking points. You just strung those together brilliantly. The fact is that they basically flushed the entire offensive staff out of here because they were inept. They figured at the end of the season, and this is just me basically guessing exactly what happened. They were inept. They made a collective decision. We got to get rid of this staff and bring a more competent staff in here. Justin wasn't the problem, number 1. So you can surmise that based off of the actions they took, right? So the next thing Sean strung into that was the idea that if they were not sold on the quarterback, why wouldn't they have immediately given him the option to go and seek a trade? They did not do that. They have not done that. And so those 2 things together. Go ahead, Sean.
Wouldn't that be doing right by Justin?
That would be absolutely doing
Wouldn't
right.
that be doing right by Justin?
Man.
Not only right,
in
but
the
right
biggest way,
but
brother. In the
not
biggest
only
way.
right, not only right, but giving him that option right away would have been the best thing for Justin. And so here we are.
Justin. We love Justin. But blah blah blah. If you love him, and he's done it with other people. He cut Eddie Jackson. He cut Cody Whitehair early. I mean, like 10 seconds after the free agent period started. He cut him, said, hey, go get, hopefully you'll be on the market as long as possible out of respect for you. And you don't think, if he has enough respect for those guys, you don't think the respect he has for Justin is just as great?
Well, hey,
look,
Sean.
Take it back to last season. During the season, he did it for JayLonJohnson. Said, hey, man, check it out. See what's out there for you, brother.
Bingo. So, you did that too. Keith, great call. Great call.
Yeah.
Because
man, the dude is consistent. I tell you that.
You can surmise a whole lot of things from actions taken. You can look at,
everything by actions taken. My man, you know that.
Yes. You can ignore those things, the actions taken, if you choose to want to spin a narrative. And that's what we're here today to talk about, the fact that people aren't putting 2 and 2 together because they want to spin their narrative. But we'll take it a little bit step further. How about that James Jones video, Chris, if you don't mind? If you don't mind. Chris, you with us? Chris.
What did you want, sir? I'm sorry, I was doing something else.
The James Jones video we had.
Put it away, damn it.
No. I'm going to pop something else up for you too here. Yeah, go. Here we go.
Here's another piece here. This is the convenient omissions by the people that want to spin the Caleb Williams narrative. You go out and get him a weapon to see how he flourishes with that weapon. That weapon that you bring in, he goes out and has his career year with Justin Fields. Locker room, DJ Moore, everybody who's DJ's probably got the most juice out of any of them as far as say so goes and sway as far as one direction or the other.
5 minutes.
You ignore that. Hey, who's TV is that?
At the scouting combine.
Who's TV?
At the Hyatt in Indianapolis.
Yeah, someone got to lower that TV in the background, gentlemen.
It was loud, but yeah, but you can ignore. You want to ignore those things if you're a GM.
His next appointment.
That's you, Chris. You got to get out. All right. What the hell? All right, so let me repeat myself. So after James Jones, now add in the fact that DJ Moore was he had his career year under Justin. Do you ignore that as a GM and just play like that chemistry never happened? And just do you surmise, okay, he did that with one weapon, we just got him. What happens if we go in the draft, trade for a few more picks, and get him another weapon or two? What does that look like? Because we don't feel like we've seen Justin Fields' ceiling. And so why do people conveniently omit that thought and ideology and just run straight for the Caleb narrative? Why do they do that?
Because it doesn't fit theirs. That's what it is. Because you and just what I had said earlier, you know, we've seen and people complain, well, does Justin need 2 All-American or All-Pro receivers and All-Pro offensive line? And well, if he does, look what he's able to accomplish. So Ryanpoles said, okay, if this is what you need, here's what you got. So he got DJ Moore. You talked about, and that was another great point, is that he got his career year with Justin Fields. Career year. Dude had 5,000 yards in 5 seasons, averaged 1,000 yards a season. Okay? With, who knows, an old Cam, a retiring Cam, and just a list of 4, 5, 6 other quarterbacks that are mediocre at best. He comes here when he's the number 1 target. Defenses know that. Defenses double team him. They shade a safety his way. They do whatever they have to do to try and stop him, and he still has a career year. Now imagine what happens if you get him another weapon on the other side, so safeties can't shade. Imagine. So it's I'm telling you, a lot of things are leaning toward, if you read between the lines and you see what he's doing. And you know, the people said on the thumbnail you had, it said, I'm going to do right by Justin. Everybody's saying, see, I'm going to do right by him, and now everybody it takes you, and he's trading him early. No. What if doing right by Justin means getting him more weapons? What if doing right by Justin means getting an offensive coordinator who's played before and developed quarterbacks like a Shanewaldron?
Which is
what if doing right by Justin means he's getting a not only a quarterback coach or bringing on a pass coordinator who's up for the offensive coordinator position. So if Shanewaldron leaves because Justin because Justin has a great year, guess what? We have some continuity to keep Justin at the level he was playing at before Shanewaldron went and took an NFL job, which should probably happen once Justin hits 35 or 4,000 yards. What if that is taking care of Justin?
Hey, Sean, do me a favor, please. For those that might be in the chat that seem to think they know football because they play Madden but don't quite understand what you mean in regards to when you say add an additional weapon so that the safety doesn't shade. Can you explain to them, what do you mean by that, please?
Yeah, if you're playing single high, okay, or even if it's cover 2, a lot of times you'll have a receiver, you'll have a safety kind of just shade a step or 2 over toward your number 1 target. All right. It just because you want to make sure that you have your 2 guys versus that 1. As a defensive coordinator, you like to take your chances. Your 2 guys against 1 receiver. Okay, so that's what I mean. So now if you have a stud receiver, okay, it's less likely that you're able to shade a guy. If you're in a single high like man free, then you can't really do it. Okay, because you get the other receiver, the safety is shading over. Toward DJ Moore, the other receiver's 1-on-1, you got no help over the top. Now, if you're in a cover 2 and you shade over, well, guess what? The area you're vacating, even if it's a step or 2, that's the only thing that's open. That he needs a lot of space for another receiver to run in that zone that you might not be able to get back to because you're worried about this guy. And you have, so what it does is it keeps you honest. You can't shade toward their number one receiver because the number two receiver is really damn good, or your tight end is really damn good. And now we'd have a number two receiver, which is really damn good, plus a tight end who's really damn good. Now you got a lot of problems if you're playing cover two and you got guys going vertical on you because you got the deep middle. If the tight end can get past the middle of the Mike linebacker, and you take those two guys out, man, we got to play here. So you just can't shade it. It keeps defenses honest when they're in zone, and you can't really lean or cheat toward your number one prospect.
So let's stay down, Keith, if you don't mind. Let's stay down the line of, coded conversation about, doing right by Justin. Everybody just jumped to the conclusion that means finding him another team, trading him, and conveniently ignoring the idea that they know they haven't done right by Justin since they've gotten there. They haven't done everything they could to really accentuate what he's capable of doing for this team. He said it right at the very beginning of the closing presser after the season was over. We think Justin Fields can lead this team. We know he can. And then you hear this coded language about we want to do right by Justin. He says he loves the guy. And so, we might be jumping to conclusions, but I don't, man. My instincts don't lie to me, man. If I get something wrong, I pivot and I admit that I'm wrong. But I feel good when I tell you guys that some of that coded language to me says that we need to go and make sure we see every option that we can on the table and examine them with the idea that we know we want to keep Justin and build around him. But I want to see what Vegas, I want to see what Atlanta, I want to see what Washington, I want to see what these teams, the Giants, are willing to put on the table. So long as they know that we're ambiguous about what we're going to do, that offer and those offers that come on the table, that table starts to pile up a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
And that means you've done your job. You've added extra value to the position that you have, giving you more flex and leverage to do the things that you need to do. Like I said before, it's 8 to 10 holes on this roster strong. And you can't fix them drafting a quarterback and 5 more picks. At number 9, you might get 1 or 2 extra picks. That's it. You got to fix this roster. You got to build this roster and compete at the level that you need to compete on. And you can't do it drafting a quarterback 1 and with 5 more picks. It's impossible.
No, man, I got to
hold on. But not only that, Keith, it's where those picks are. You can get some high-end talent in the first and second round if you move off that first pick. They know that. But my bad. Go ahead, Keith.
First of all, let me address somebody in the chat. Shandog, we don't mind you being president and following the show and everything, but your tone, brother, and your disrespect right now toward others in the chat got to stop, bro. Otherwise, we just gonna go ahead and block you.
Don't worry about that. I got him.
So just cut it on out.
Don't worry.
Be an adult. You calling people fanboys. The only fanboy I see right now happens to be you.
We ain't got
Caleb carry his own. Okay.
We ain't got to address, man. You spoke on it, man. Because I just put a block
I digress. My bad. So let me get back to it. So essentially, all the pleasantries that Ryanpoles has expressed toward Justin Fields, he didn't have to do that at all. If he's going to move on or whatever his thoughts are, he can keep it very, very vanilla and move forward with it. What does he have to gain by saying those things, especially if he think he may move in a different direction? Of course, yeah, that's his quarterback currently, but he doesn't, if we're talking business, then does he really owe him all the pleasantries? Not quite. But when we talk about doing right by Justin, what I took from it was exactly what you stated, what Sean stated too, and more importantly, what Louis Riddick stated on ESPN on Get Up, which was, if Justin Fields was the problem, then why not get rid of the problem? Instead, you got rid of an entire offensive coaching staff. Only people that remained was the offensive coordinator, the offensive line and the tight end coach. Why? Because they was looking for somebody as an offensive coordinator is going to run a very similar scheme and system. So for those that want to read the tea leaves, read all the tea leaves. Don't pick the ones that's going to fit your narrative. Read all the tea leaves. Learn, educate yourself on some things, period. But I
So
will say, and I do believe that he's doing right by Justin. He went out and got an offensive coordinator. He's got some pieces in place now that we didn't even have on in the coaching ranks last season to move forward to propel this offense into what I consider the new NFL. Because for years we've been very antiquated with regards to our approach offensively. We've been able to do things defensively because that's what we've always been known for, was defense. But our biggest Achilles heel has always been offense. And for the first time, and I'm going to repeat this again, for the very first time in this organization's entire history, we finally have a front office with real football people, and on all phases of the game, coaches with actual coaching experience. No first timers, none of that. Everybody is coming in, handling their business in the roles that they are accustomed to being in, and that they have been proven in each one in their respective roles. So for me, I think he's doing his quarterback as well as the team some doing them right and doing them justice. That's just my take.
I mistakenly banned Leo Factor. I apologize, Leo.
Uh,
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to roast you about that, man. Your band finger is slippery, man. Listen, I
is that the
got.
second time you did?
Oh man, that's
You
second
banned him?
time. He's shooting the wrong people, man. His aiming ain't good, but that's all right. Still love you.
Did you get him back?
No, I didn't. I was working on something else. Listen, I wanted to play this Peter King clip from the Dan Patrick Show. It's less than a minute long, but it really it clarifies what Peter King spoke about the other day, if that's all right.
A year ago at this time, I sat in a room for 45 minutes with ryanpoles right at the scouting combine at the Hyatt in Indianapolis. His next appointment was Scott Fitterer, the general manager of the Carolina Panthers. And this is what ryanpoles is going to do this week. And I just believe, if I am ryanpoles, you know what I have on my team? I have a B quarterback with about 10 significant holes. I probably, in the next 2 drafts, could take the first pick in this draft and turn it into, along with my other picks, a total of maybe 8 picks in the top 2 rounds in the next 2 drafts. I could do that. Why wouldn't you do that?
So, hey, man, Peter King knows what he's talking about, man. He's not like me and Sean. We were discussing this yesterday. When he broke Twitter, when he broke that he thinks they're going to trade down and do all that, and everybody went nuts. I think the man has enough standing and credibility that you take him seriously. I don't know a time in my life where I read something that he predicted that came out to be wrong. And so I think also, the fact that he put ryanpoles in a certain kind of predicament, I think he went out to kind of clean that up a little bit. And I think that was the right thing to do. But I'll let you guys go ahead from there and discuss what you think about what he just said.
What he just said? Okay. Yeah, I think he walked it back because that was his last column. All right, he retired. And who's not going to want to go out? Who's not going to want to go out in a bang with the last whatever? Okay, he had a chance. This is the news that's been out. This is the topic throughout the NFL. But the Bears are like, hey, we need to keep this in the wraps. Blah 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 blah. So okay, it's easy. Hold on. It's easy for him to hop back on and say, hey, listen, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't do this. It's easy for him to say that. Okay. And I appreciate that. That's cool. But it just makes sense to him. and one other thing that I wanted to thank you guys. Thank you. No one has mentioned this. Why is it that Justin's on vacation this week? It just, to me, it just seems that the timing is he goes on the podcast and says, "Hey, I'm on vacation." I don't know. It doesn't mean anything one way or the other. To me, it just seems, well, wow, you waited all off season. All right, because a lot of guys that I knew played like the season's over, they're gone, or they'll wait a week and they're gone, or they'll take a vacay with the fam because they've been away from them all season, and they're gone. It's not like Justin has a family. He doesn't have any kids that we know of.
Hey, Sean,
doesn't have a wife.
Can I throw another little piece in there for you while you're talking about this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Ryan Poles, as a man, respects Justin Fields enough as a human and a man or lacks the respect so to the point that he would allow Justin to come into the facility 2 weeks after the season stops to be in there having workouts and doing what you think he would allow him to do that, knowing that he's got intentions on moving him? Do you think he let him do that out of respect for him?
Do I think he'd be allowed back in the facility?
Yeah, why would you? I mean, do you think Poles would actually do that? You think before he traded him? Now he was inside that building as the coach
working out. Yeah.
He was working out as the coaches were coming in and being interviewed. You think he would have let that happen if they had intention on trading him?
Yeah, like I don't think he could always say, "Hey, I mean, you can't tell him to stay away. He hasn't done anything wrong." You know what I mean? So it might just be, I don't think he would. It's just like, I don't know. I don't think there's. I mean, you could say.
I think his first priority is to not tip his hand. That's the first thing. He's got to not tip his hand to keep the value of the first overall pick at its highest. So I think that's why he's so apologetic to Justin, is because there's just certain stuff he can't let him know for fear of it being leaked. They're keeping the thing as tight as they can up at Hallis Hall, and so I don't think he can let anything endanger information being leaked.
If it does go down the way that we think it does, I mean, the way that he has played this is, as I said yesterday, it's a master's class in how to be a GM, but it is really, I'd be even more impressed because of, you got to keep people in the dark. Maybe he has Justin in the dark. All right. Maybe he says, "Hey," or maybe he's told Justin, "All right, here's what we're doing, but guess what? I need you to go away. Take a vacay." And Justin's not going to Miami. Justin's not going to Florida. Justin's not even going to the Caribbean. Where did he say he was going? Italy, Europe.
Yeah, he sure did, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Sure did.
So you can't even get a hold of me. I mean, unless you got my WhatsApp number, but you know what I mean? Like, he's not even going on vacay here like we all do over here. Go to Atlanta, LA, Arizona. And he was a baseball player. You don't want to go to spring training, Florida, right around Tampa, Arizona, right around Phoenix. Nope. I got to go to Europe. Just a thought. Just not even a thought. Just something to think about. All these things that are adding up. And so when people say, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God, I can't believe it." Guess what? We tried giving you the signs. We tried giving you the signs. We tried telling you, but you don't want to see it. You didn't see it because you didn't want to see it. That's all.
Well, let me jump in here real quick because we got to pause for a station ID real quick.
Great perspective, Sean.
And on the other side of that, we'll pick up this conversation along with some of the stuff we touched on last night. Sean, I thought you wasn't going to be able to do the show, but you came in late and we was about to wrap up the show. So I'll give you a chance to chime in on some of the conversation that we were having last night. But let's do the station ID first.
The best Chicago Bears content anywhere. Catch Nomad Live pregame 1 hour prior to kickoff and Nomad at Night postgame, and every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Central on all the most popular streaming platforms, and only on the Nomad Network.
Thank you, everybody, for all the support. I took a peep over at Sean's channel the other day. It looked like he got some more subs. I don't know exactly how many, but keep up the support, guys. We definitely need you to keep, whenever you, talk some people into subscribing to the channels, both of ours, Sports Zone Chicago and over here at the Nomad Network. Talk people into, hey, man, there's some good Bears content out here. If you get tired of some of the regular stuff that's out here, man, these dudes over here be tearing it down every time they do a show, man. So do us a favor and reach out to other people, share that content, speak to people about what we do here, man. We can definitely use the support from, people that we don't know are out there looking for the shows and stuff like that. So, like, if I tell you right now, you know what, Sean, before I get all the way into it, man, I'm gonna go ahead and let you speak on some of the stuff that was going on the show last night, and see what your takes are about, what we were talking about last night about Justin did he earn it to have a team built around him or not? You wanted to get in last night. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think he did earn it. I think he, the way he's handled his first year when he gets thrown to the fire. Okay, he was supposed to sit for a year. Okay, that didn't happen. The lack of protection he had his first year. I mean, you talk about throwing someone to the wolves. My goodness. Okay. Then the second year, what do? You take away his defense, and you don't give him a wide receiver. Smith, Amir Marset, Byron Pringle, my man, N'Keal Harry. All right. There's
Where they at now?
Linebacker somewhere.
Not being used properly. Not being used properly, damn it. But so he has no weapons, and then his defense, you tear down his defense, so it gives up 33 points a game. There's a stat where it shows how poorly all quarterbacks except Mahomes, and there are even some of the great ones: Brady, Montana, Favre. When your defense gives up over 27 points, all those quarters, this is about 15, 20 quarterbacks, except for Mahomes. Mahomes is the only one who has a winning record. The rest have all losing records. So you expect him with Smith, Amir Marset, Byron Pringle. Who were some of the other ones besides N'Keal Harry? There was another one.
EQ,
St. Brown, and then there was one more.
Probably Valus.
No, there was another no-name guy. See, when you say that he's had 3 years, he's had 3 years, but they haven't done anything for him in the first two. The first two were horrible. And then last year, he finishes the season 5-2. Okay? He was hurt. And what people don't understand, here's the crazy part. His offensive line that they had to start the season didn't play together until week 9, 10? The offensive line that they had scheduled, that they had built, didn't play together for the first time until week 9 or 10.
Dante Pettis.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So they didn't play together for 2/3 of the season. But yet you still want this guy to have to take off. And so it's frustrating that you see that. Then you finally get Montez Sweat, and all of a sudden, he finishes 5-2 on a trajectory up. You had a guy who didn't know how to develop them. 3 screens in a row. You call that? You don't even do that in Pop Warner. Maybe Pop Warner is the only place you do it. But he did that in the NFL in the red zone. And you expect this guy, and here's the problem is that you think that because when you're coached, when you're given poor instruction, you perform poorly. See, many of you haven't been teachers before. I was a teacher for 15 years. Okay, and when you want to get, and people run away from, and coaching is nothing but teaching. And Mike Tomlin said it the best on the pivot. He said coaches run away from the responsibility of coaching.
Say that again.
Coaches run away from the responsibility of being coaches, of coaching. And why has the footwork changed? Wire is reads. If you watch Coach T had Quincy Avery, Justin's personal quarterback coach. And one of the things that he said was there were times where, he'd ask him like, hey, why did you go there? Why didn't you look over here? This guy was open. He's like, well, this week in practice, my progression started here. We worked on this. We focused over here first and that. So you don't hear these things. You don't see these things. And right away, Justin's this, Justin's that. So when you have a poor, I'm not even going to say Getsy's bad. He's new. He's figuring this out. First-time play caller. First-time play caller in the NFL. First-time head coach in the NFL. First-time GM in the NFL. Like, you did him no favors whatsoever.
Sean, you know how many times I was jumping up and down and I got this nice, movies theater style sofa. It's a love seat. Me and my girl sit back here, and this is like a little quiet space. And she got mad at me, and she came back here and she was watching the game with me when he was doing all those screens back to back, and I was hopping up and down on this thing, man. She's like, if you don't calm down, you're gonna break. I love this seat. I'm not getting rid of it. And she was just getting mad at me, man, because I was huffing and puffing so hard, man. It was just like, what in God's name is going on in this dude's head? That's the point, Sean. That's the point where I'm gonna get a little passionate here, man, because I got to a point in the season this year where I felt like, and I believe Ryanpoles and some people in that building, maybe Kevinwarren and some other people, you started to feel some sabotage, man. I started to feel like
a lot of people said that, Nomad. A lot of people.
It started to feel obvious to me, man. And I was like, man, what are they trying to do here? What are they trying to do? Just because this guy is not Aaron Rodgers type with his release, what are they trying to intentionally make him look bad by calling plays that don't necessarily fit his skill set?
Yep.
That's how I was feeling, man. I don't know. Apparently you guys felt that way too, but I was pretty quiet about it until I got on the show one day and I had to let it out. But to this day, I felt like that was pretty intentional, and they wanted to make him look bad.
But here's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Can he develop him? All right. Justin is a special character. All right. Justin is a special type of player that needs to be coached different. Like the one thing that, it seemed like he was trying to fit him in a square hole, a square peg in a round hole. And all right, this is what Aaron Rodgers does. Do this, do this, do this. He's not Aaron Rodgers. All right. You had to find what works best, what he does best, and do it. And that wasn't done. That's coaching malpractice. And he's been in college and the NFL a long time. He should have known that. But there is a situation oftentimes where offensive coordinators love to be the smartest guys in the room. Maybe he felt he waited too long before he got an OC gig. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not in his head, but there was there were so many reasons, so many things that we saw that made me believe he wanted to be the smartest guy in the room. And sometimes it's just the what is it? Keep it simple, stupid.
Sean, but take a look at Starsky Love here, man. Starsky Love. I gotta read this, fellas. I'm sorry. This is the stuff that gets to me. Sabotage is the only way to explain how Getsy stopped doing what JF1 had excelled at in the Denver and Washington games. That's the stuff that sticks out to me right there. That those right after that's when you start. I mean, it was really gross, man. It was grotesque. Why would you stop doing something that works? But I digress.
Here's why, Starkey Love and Nomad. Here's why, because what you want to do is, and here's from offensive coordinators. A lot of times you want to be the smartest guy in the room. When you do something's working, and it happens a couple of times, and say, okay, well, guess what? They're gonna think we're doing this again, but now we're gonna do this, as opposed to running it until they stop it. You have to run the same God-blessed play 7 times in a row because you just gained 6 yards each single time. Then you run the play 7 times in a row. Not 3 screens that gain 1 yard, no yard, minus 1 yard, 1 yard. No, when you get positive yardage. When you get positive yardage, then you continue to do that. And it doesn't have to be the same play. I mean, the same consecutively, but teams didn't adjust.
You know what, Sean? It's funny you say that, man. And I said this last night. I said, Justin, like you said, Justin's a very special type of player, to where the kid wants to be coached and he wants to be coached hard. And sometimes you can be so coachable to where it can be to your detriment. And that's what I felt like last season, that he was willing to do whatever his coaches were asking of him because he want to win, you know, and to a point where I felt it was to his detriment. But at the same time, what I took from Getsy, one, I felt, and Nomad, you could probably, because I know you dealt with mental health and things of this nature. What I've seen in Getsy, and when he would go to the podium, when he did have certain interviews, and just his demeanor on the sideline, I saw some narcissistic traits, and I could be wrong, but it seemed like this guy was really adamant in making sure that he displayed his system, and it was about the system, not about the player. I'm going to force this player into my system because I felt like from day one, this guy had been auditioning for a head coaching job. He didn't even bother to really take the role of being an offensive coordinator and learn how to do that first before he put the cart before the horse and was trying to audition for a head coaching job by saying, see, I have this system. I took this player and I molded him into my system versus I put a system around this guy's talent. And because of that, we are excelling as a team.
Well, I look at it. I look at it a couple of ways. You mentioned narcissism. I look at it in that lens too, but I also looked at it in the lens of I'm handicapped. I'm hamstrung. This is all I know. And if we can't, but then again, when you think about it, you see how he adapted the scheme after the first 4 or 5 games, up until the game when they played New England. It looked really one way, and it seemed like it wasn't going to change. And then something happened. They had a powwow. I think they had a mini buy. I think that's what they called it. And they got together. The heads got together and said, "Look, we got to change some things, man. This is not looking good for any of us. And if we keep going down this road, all of us are going to lose our jobs. So we got to start. We got to at least get Justin in this room and see what he's comfortable doing, and maybe get away from what we want him to do in the scheme." So I see a little bit of both of what you're saying, Keith. I see the narcissism, and I also see the ineptitude that had to, because I know at a point, Flus began to call plays.
Yep. Yeah.
Flus began to call plays. I sent a little clip to Coach. I think it was Coach T. I believe it was Coach T. I sent it to him, and I seen him. This is at the time when if you know how time clock works, and how many seconds you got before the microphone shuts off, and the quarterback can't hear you in his helmet anymore, then at a certain time you're going to see one of those guys actually calling in the play. And that time when it should have been Getsy calling the play, he was just sitting there reading a Denny's menu, and Flus was mouthing the play. And so after the before the New England game, I think it got to that point of the season where I got to take some kind of control of the ship, or we're all going to lose our jobs. I'll call the plays. And so I think that started to happen. So to your argument, Keith, is it narcissism? Yes. Is it also ineptitude? I think so. I think both can be true at the same time in a damn cocktail.
But also one of the things that you got to understand, and I see some Bearlissimo touched on it, Starkey Love touched on it, and I touched on it many times on my show, is like Justin's a good soldier. Okay, he was raised. His dad is a cop. His dad was a Marine. Okay, so that there's discipline in the house. That there's not a lot of back talk. There's not a lot of uprising. Okay, you're not going to act a fool in the house of a Marine. Believe me, I know this firsthand. Well, no, secondhand. My cousin,
son of a Marine, brother.
My cousin, my Uncle John, my mom's brother, and all his kids. That's how he raised his kids. That's how he raised his family. So sometimes Justin is just too much of a good soldier. All right, you got to have a little bit of a jerk in you. You got to have a little bit of rebel in you, because all the great quarterbacks do. You can sit there and talk about Peyton Manning. Read about some of the stuff Peyton Manning did in college. He's a rebel. All right, but also Peyton Manning will get in your face. Peyton Manning will argue with a coach. Say, no, I don't like that right now. All right, think of all the great quarterbacks that you can think of, and they all have that switch, that place that they go to, that competitive. And Justin is just so talented. So he's got to be able to step up and say, hey, no, I don't like this. No, I don't like this. And I think, and you can tell when he said when he said earlier in the season, he goes, maybe it's coaching. He didn't say it with definitiveness. Like, no, they're doing too much. Like if someone was frustrated, he said as a kind of a guy who's like, well, maybe it's coaching. Like not trying to get anyone in trouble. Like you may not understand because if you haven't worked with people and kids in a long time, like I've worked with kids for 15 years. Nomad's worked with people for a long time. So we understand though it's not what you say, it's how you say it a lot of times. And he was like, maybe it's coaching. It was coaching. And he needs to stand up a little more and be like, no, I didn't like this. Let's do this. I don't like that. Let's do that. Or in the middle of a game. Hey, coach, this is working. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. So I just think he's a good soldier to a fault. And you need a coach who can pull that out of him. So you need a good coach who can maximize his ability so he can say, hey, listen, here's what I need you to do. So when Justin does it, it's what best fits his skill set and what's the best for this offense and what's best for the Chicago Bears.
Since we only have a few minutes left on the show, man, I think we should wrap it up like this. And I'm just gonna use my good judgment and imagine everything that we just talked about, all the stuff that we discussed last night on Nomad at Night. Let's tie it all together. And so my good judgment, I just want people to know when they hear me. I know some people are tired of this whole conversation, but it would behoove us to ignore the room and ignore what everybody's talking about right now. This is what people want to talk about. And the truth is, I'm going to tell you what my estimation is as far as what I think happened at the end of the season. I think they evaluated the coaching staffs on both sides of the ball. I know they did. And within a week or two of the end of the season, they decided that, okay, let's take a look at Justin's tape. And let's look at some of the things that went wrong, some of the things that went right. Who's at fault here? And clearly, it came down to the offense. Flush, they're gone. Now, here we go into the draft season, into the combine. What's going to be our plan moving forward? Another week of conversation. How should we move? Should we move that pick? Should we keep that pick and draft another quarterback? I'm thinking they said no. I think Poles got together and they said, you know what, we got a chance of a lifetime to really build and deck this roster out with some studs. And I think I've seen enough in Justin to feel like, especially when we brought DJ here, he excelled right away. The connection was there, boom, and they took off. I think we put another weapon or two on the other side of DJ, a slot guy and an X guy. And I think we're cooking. Get an offensive lineman or two, some studs early in the draft, and I think we really got us something special. I think that's what happened quietly behind closed doors. And I think what they did was everybody get your poker face on, everybody get your game plan ready. When we go out here, the goal is to intensify the value of this draft pick to help the Chicago Bears, get what we came to get. And I think it's going brilliantly. That's what I think is going on behind the scenes. That what I just said, if anybody thinks that doesn't sound like it makes sense to you, fine. I ain't got no problem with it. But tell me why you don't think that makes sense. I think that's the more important question. But go ahead, fellas.
I think that
Sean, I'll let you take it first.
Thank you, sir. I think they realize that Lukegetsy is still learning. And I think they realize that I'm not going to say he's trash. He's learning. All right. Think of your job. The first day you did it, the first time you ever went and got a job, you weren't very good at it. Okay. It's easy, like Flus. All right. He was a defensive coordinator. He's a great defensive coordinator. But when you move into that head coaching seat, that spotlight, that interrogation light's a lot brighter. A lot more things are entailed with an uptick, with a promotion. And I just don't think he was ready. And I think that they saw that, and it didn't make sense for them to keep him because they don't have time. I think they believe in Justin. They don't have time for him to grow. And I'm talking about I'm talking about Getsy. Like, we need somebody who's done this before. And they went out and got it. And which is a surprise. I just mentioned it, but how many of these guys were first years? All right. Or Ryan Poles is a first year GM. All right. Eberflus. Get all these guys first year. You can't do that with a quarterback who just got his tail kicked from the previous season because he played too early and they had no offensive line. He had no receivers to throw to. And you want to get a guy who's trying to figure it out and learn? You can't do that. Doesn't make any sense. You need a veteran who has a proven track record. They got it. And now I think they're going to keep. Now they're going to move forward with it, and it makes sense because now you have. If you think that what Geno Smith did was great, watch to see what Justin Fields does, because they're going to get him another receiver. They're going to get him another receiver. Now DJ Moore might not have another career year with the Bears, but we're going to have another 1,000-yard receiver. How crazy would that be to DJ Moore have 1,100 yards and then another guy have 1,000 yards, then a tight end have 600? All of a sudden, that's crazy. That now you can't. Now who do you guard? Do you say DJ? Do you say the number 2? They're giving him weapons. So what he did at Ohio State, taking him to the national championship with all the blue chippers, and he had more talent than other quarterbacks than Caleb, and that's why Caleb wasn't in the college football playoff. Okay, that very well may be true, but look what he did with the talent that he had. Took him all the way to the national championship game. And if he didn't have broken ribs, there could be a different outcome in that game.
Yeah,
well,
that's all I'm saying.
We got a couple minutes left, Keith. So just keep.
Yeah, I'm
that.
gonna keep it short. What I
Sorry,
like,
I
what I think they did. That's okay, brother. Essentially, what's taking place here, ryanpoles and Eberflus have put the necessary checks and balances in place on the offensive side of the ball. Something that they've never had before. Again, this is a first for this organization, but it's amazing to me how we have some talking heads and other individuals who seem to think that, we know what it's supposed to look like when we've never had it before. So let's take a step back here and give Poles some credit, and also let's also hold him accountable, because we cannot remove the fact that what he did was he tore a team completely down, and now we're going through a complete rebuild to get to a certain point. And I just feel that he believes that Justin deserves an opportunity to finally drive the restored muscle car that they're building. And I believe that we're going to see the results of that rebuild, and whether we like it or not, he's doing a pretty masterful job of it. It's killing some of us because we don't know what he's thinking. He hasn't shown his hand. But at the same time, for those of you that say you trust him for either way it goes. And that goes for us too, those of us that are kind of champion for Justin. And we're really champion for Justin simply because we just feel like he's gone through the fire, so why not him be the one to at least have the opportunity to come out of the fire and have at it with the new coaching staff versus let him be the whipping board and then get rid of him and bring in the shiny new toy. That's my only take on it in regards to how I feel about it. But all in all, I'm bringing it to a close.
Since you
There's
already
checks
there,
and balances in place, and I think that we're going to see the results of that.
Since you're already there, man, you want to do any closing statements before we walk out of here?
I most certainly do. First and foremost, to all I know maniacs and the new guests in the chat, thank you for coming out again today and supporting us. My apologies for my earlier blow up. I'm real big on disrespect. I don't tolerate it. We don't tolerate it. We don't try to consider and tell anybody how to think. We want you to be free-minded because we're free-minded. But we just ask that you be respectful to us as well as to those that's in the chat. To Sean, to Nomad, to Chris, to Brian. Hey, as always, I love chopping it up and talking Bears football with you guys. And we're going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to try to educate. And look, man, this is fun. And let's just keep it going. Nomad what? Bear down.
Go ahead, Sean.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy talking Bears with you. We enjoy talking, supporting the guy that we believe is the best candidate best quarterback to lead this franchise. No, you're right. He did. The crack ribs were it was the hip. He had the hip issue in the championship, in the national championship game. Thank you very much. It was the hip that he had the issue with. But all my sports donors who come over and follow me and support me, all the nomaniacs, thank you very much. We love the support. We love to see the numbers grow, continue to grow, and we appreciate it. Yeah. Crazy.
There. Got
Live TV.
Yeah.
Imaginary feather under Sean's nose.
We appreciate the love and support. Thank you very much. And keep coming out. We're gonna keep giving you this. And what's gonna happen is and like Nomad said, if we're wrong, we're wrong. You know, I'll eat crow. I got no problem with it. But I'll tell you what, when I see something, I believe in it, I'm not backing down. Okay, I'm not backing down, and I see it differently than most people. I see it differently than the journalists. I see it differently than the average Joe. So that's all. No problem. Again, we can agree to disagree. No problem. Just don't get disrespectful. And you know, this is a great spot. You'll love it. You're more than free to argue. Man, this is what it's about. We're debating. All right. So that's what makes this fun. Guys, you have a great day. All right. Enjoy it. This weekend. Well, we'll see you tomorrow, but this weekend's gonna be beautiful. And spend it with your loved ones. Like I say, I'm in my little videos. Do yourself a favor. Send someone a text that you haven't talked to in a long time. One of your boys, one of your cousins, one of your peoples. Just be like, hey, you know what? I just thought about you. All right. Have a great day. Hope you and the family are great. Don't hit me back when you can. You're gonna make somebody's day. I guarantee you. And that's what we need. Just put more smiles on people's faces.
Amen to that, man. And I'll just leave you guys with this because apparently I triggered. You wanna say goodbye, Brian? We can't hear you. Muted, man.
I just want to thank Keith for mentioning Tony Medlin. No Maniacs, great seeing you. Have a blessed day. As always, hit the like, subscribe. We love and appreciate you all. Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, let me leave you guys with this real quick. I made some hell of points, and everybody on the panel last night and today made a hell of a case for why we feel the way we feel. So a lot of people follow me on Twitter, and a lot of people were triggered during last night's show and today's show. I've seen it, plenty of it in the chat today. I won't call any names out, but I'm gonna tell you this. Do yourselves a favor, man. I love you guys and every one of you guys, man. You're still part of the family over here, but do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Don't try to convince me that we're moving on from Justin Fields and we're going to draft Caleb Williams. You won't. Convince yourself. Convince yourself of that because it doesn't work on me. It won't stray my opinion. It won't sway anything about the way I see it, the way I described it to you, exactly what I believe, and it wastes no time. Don't waste your time and energy giving me what you think about, and it doesn't really matter. I've decided with myself that this is what I think they're thinking. And if I'm wrong, like Sean said, don't mind pivoting and saying I'm wrong. But as of now, man, no matter how many times you repeat it to me that we're going to move off of Justin and we're going to draft Cap, that shit don't matter to me, man. Save that, man. Really. I just want to tell you, save your energy so that you don't have to keep repeating yourself like that because it moves the needle none with me. Just wanted to make sure you know that before I got out of here, but I got to make sure I tell everybody, love you guys. Appreciate you all for being here and stay tuned. I think we'll be back Friday for Nomad at Night. We'll be back Friday afternoon at 3 for our regular Nomad live show that day. I don't know if we have any guests lined up. I'm not sure, but definitely 2 shows that day. It's going to be at 3 o'clock and 8 p.m. Central. So stay tuned for all that. But before I get out of here, I got to leave you guys with these famous words. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Nomad what? Bear down.